March 19th, 2013. TJ Lane appeared in court wearing a t-shirt with the word killer on it. Now that was the same word he had on his shirt the day he killed 3 people in cold blood. Lane showed no remorse, even smirking as the judge sentenced him to life. Here are the most dangerous school shooters reacting to life sentences. Number 10. Nicholas Cruz.
I hope your ever-breathing moment here on earth is miserable, and you repent for your sins, Nicholas.
February 14th, 2018. Armed with an AR, 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz opened fire on students and staff at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, killing 17 people and injuring 17 others. Now, who is Nicholas Cruz, and why did he commit this heinous act? September 24th, 1998. Cruz was born to Brenda Norma Woodward, a violent felon and drug addict. He would be put in an orphanage and adopted later by Roger and Linda Cruz. Both these adoptive parents would die, Roger at 67 and Linda at 68, leaving Cruz orphaned 3 months before the shooting. However, this wasn't the sole reason behind his violent outburst. Cruz was diagnosed with ADHD and ODD, facing challenges throughout his school years, marked by threats and expulsions. 2016, he was investigated for Snapchat posts, in which he did a disturbing stunt saying he planned to buy a gun. However, the investigation concluded he was at low risk of harming himself or others. A year later, Cruz turned those threats into a reality, getting that firearm he would use in the shooting. The authorities would still have a chance to stop him at this point, but they failed to do so. September 24th, 2017. A person with the username Nicholas Cruz posted a comment to a YouTube video that read, "I'm gonna be a professional school shooter." The person who uploaded that video reported that comment to the FBI. The agency conducted database reviews but was unable to track down the individual who made that threatening comment. Less than 2 months before the shooting, the FBI received tips about Cruz's gun ownership, desire to kill people, erratic behavior, and his disturbing social media posts, as well as the overall potential for a school shooting. After this investigation, the FBI said the tip line didn't follow protocol, so investigative steps weren't taken. February 14th, 2018. Tragedy struck. Cruz walked into his old school unleashing a hail of bullets on students and staff, killing 17 and hurting 17 others. He then fled the scene on foot, blending in with other students. Approximately 1 hour and 20 minutes later, he would be arrested without incident in nearby Coral Springs. Cruz faced charges for 17 counts of first-degree murder and 17 counts of attempted first-degree murder. The prosecution made it clear that they intended to pursue the death penalty. November 2nd, 2022. Cruz received a sentence of 34 consecutive life terms with no chance of parole.
Court imposes a mandatory life sentence without the possibility of parole. And he's to be given credit in the amount of 1,718 days time served.
As the judge handed out his sentence, Cruz maintained a stone face. We can only speculate what thoughts raced through his mind at that very moment, but it's possible he felt a sense of relief knowing he had escaped the death penalty. Number 9. Barry Lucius. February 2nd, 1996. Dressed up like a gunslinger with 2 concealed weapons and a high-powered rifle, Barry walked into his school and ruthlessly shot his classmates and school staff until this brave teacher put an end to his bloody rampage. In the aftermath, 3 people died, and Lucius blamed it on mood swings. He thought it would be fun to go on a killing spree. February 22nd, 1981, Barry Lucius was born. He spent his early years in Iowa and Minnesota with his parents before moving to Washington in 5th grade. However, his life would take a dark turn when his father began having an affair and his mother became increasingly distant. She often spoke of taking her own life, even implying that Barry would have to kill himself as well. January 1996. She told Barry they both had to end their lives on Valentine's Day. When asked whether this incident was what drove him to the edge, Lucius answered that the relentless bullying at school was what pushed him to commit the heinous act of violence. He was also suffering from clinical depression. February 2nd, 1996. Rather than taking the bus, he walked the distance between his house and the middle school. Once inside the class, he brutally shot his algebra teacher, hitting her with a round to the chest. She died immediately, still holding onto the eraser. Then he would fire at students, killing 2, one of whom was a bully to him. He would also shoot at a girl in the arm. He took hostages for a small amount of time and released the wounded. This situation was under control when teacher John Lane came into the room, assisting in the evacuation of injured students, and then tackled Lucius, keeping him there until police arrived. September 24th, 1997, Barry was convicted of 2 counts of aggravated first-degree murder and sentenced to 2 life terms without the possibility of parole. Years after his sentencing, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that people convicted of murder committed when they were under 18 years of age couldn't receive automatic life terms without parole. So 2017, Lucius was back in court for a resentencing, and for the first time, he apologized for the crime he committed.
You should have to go through that. And it was because I was stupid, and because I was pathetic, and because I was weak.
In the end, he was given 189 years in prison. Number 8. Evan Ramsey, a sophomore at Bethel Regional High School in Alaska, killed 2 and wounded 2 others in a school shooting when he was just 16 years old. February 9th, 1981. Ramsey was born in a turbulent household. At 5, his father was imprisoned, and his mother became an alcoholic. At 7, social services would take him and his 2 brothers away from his mom and put him in foster care. Evan lived in 11 foster homes until he was adopted at the age of 10. He was allegedly abused by several foster parents and had suffered from depression since early childhood. Now, Ramsey was also frequently bullied at school. According to his friends, he complained of being harassed and teased by other students, even to the extent of only addressing him as Screech, a character from the TV series Saved by the Bell. Reports would say 2 weeks before the crime, over 15 students knew of his intention to commit this school shooting, and 2 actually assisted him. One student, James Randall, taught him how to use a shotgun, and another, Matthew Charles, would describe the infamy that would follow. The reports also say many students went to school with cameras ready to capture that shooting. February 19th, 1997, Evan Ramsey, armed with a shotgun, arrived at Bethel Regional High School by school bus. Ramsey approached the student commons area and opened fire. He killed 2 people, a student and the principal. He also shot and injured 2 other students. When the police arrived, Ramsey placed that shotgun barrel under his chin and said, "I don't want to die," and laid the shotgun on the ground and surrendered without resisting. Following that arrest, this kid said he didn't understand that his actions would kill anyone. December 2nd, 1998, Ramsey was found guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder, 3 counts of first-degree attempted murder, and 15 counts of third-degree assault. He was given 210 years in prison. On appeal, however, it was reduced to 2 99-year sentences. Ramsey would be eligible for parole when he's 82, but he doesn't believe he'll ever walk out of the prison gate again.
Do you think there's actually a parole board that would let somebody out after serving 66 years in prison?
Number 7. Sky Boucher, April 20th, 2018. 19-year-old Sky Boucher, who had previously attended Forest High School but dropped out in 2016, entered the student parking lot with a sinister purpose. With a guitar case, Boucher went undetected up the stairs to the 2nd floor of the main building and ducked into the hallway D restroom. From that case, he pulled out a shotgun, which he had purchased online over a private sale, and then he exited that bathroom. Boucher would head to the classroom door directly across the hall from the restroom. The door was locked. A student inside named Evan was near the trash can when there was an explosion. Boucher had fired a shot into the bottom of the door. Evan was bleeding from his left ankle. As he hobbled to the desk, screaming in pain, the teacher informed the principal, and they issued a code red throughout the school, being the most severe level of warning. However, by this time, Boucher had already surrendered to another teacher, Kelly McManus Panasic. After blasting a hole in the classroom door, Boucher said he heard Evan yelling in pain, which made him drop that shotgun and put his hands in the air. Kelly saw Boucher with his hands up. He told his former teacher that he wanted to be arrested and he was mentally ill. Boucher said he fired the weapon but didn't mean to hurt anyone. Kelly told him to stand still. Then she called the school office reporting there had been a shooting and that she was with the suspect, who was now unarmed. This kid was arrested and charged with many crimes, the top one being discharging a firearm on school property. April 22, 2021. Boucher was given 30 years in prison. Number 6. Caleb Sharp. September 13, 2017. Caleb brought many weapons to school and just started shooting his classmates, killing one of them, Sam Strahan, who was trying to prevent the attack from taking place. He would also injure 3 girls and terrorize dozens of others. Now, Sharp was raised in Spokane, Washington, and was 15 years old at the time of this shooting. People said he was a quiet young man with a soft-spoken personality. However, Sharp had this other side nobody knew about. This guy was posting content under the username Mungo Walker. His social media pages were filled with mock shootouts, gun-related content, and anti-feminist memes. He also had mental health issues and learning disorders, including depression and untreated ADHD. Prior to this shooting, the kid had written 2 suicidal notes and became increasingly isolated. According to reports, he was bothered that his family had moved several times and that his step-siblings had moved out of the house. Now, after being arrested, Sharp pled guilty to aggravated murder, 3 counts of attempted murder, and 1 count of assault. During the trial, he would apologize to the public and the victims' families, saying he had learned the cost of evil.
I'm sorry to every single person I forced PTSD upon. I'm sorry to all the people who can't go out in public anymore.
Sharp's public defender argued he should be considered a youthful offender and be sentenced below the standard range. The judge disagreed.
Lots of kids have ADHD, but they don't go shoot up a school and try to kill as many of their classmates as they can.
August 19th, 2022. The judge finally gave Sharp 40 years in prison before he can appeal for release. With credit for time served, Sharp will be 55 before he can return to the community. Number 5. Michael Carel. December 1st, 1997. The shooting occurred at Health High School in West Paducah, Kentucky, when 14-year-old Michael Carel brutally launched an attack on a group of students, killing 3 girls and wounding 5 others. Now, at this high school, Carel was seen to be a B student with no real disciplinary problems. The truth was, this kid was facing a lot of trouble at school. Michael would bring items to school and sell them to make friends, even if he had to steal them. And because of his small frame and physical weakness, he was frequently bullied. Someone published in the school's paper gossip column that he had feelings for another male student. That led to more name-calling, with names like homo and faggot. Now, weeks before the incident, Michael stole a .38 handgun from his parents' room and attempted to sell it. A student took the gun, threatening to call the police if Michael didn't give it to him. The student promised to pay Michael later, but never did. Around that time, Michael had also told students that something big is gonna happen, but no one took him seriously. November 1997. This kid stole 2 shotguns from his father's closet and hid them under his bed. With that, he was fully prepared to carry out his evil plan. December 1st. Michael wrapped these 2 shotguns and 2 pistols he had stolen on another occasion in a blanket and took them to school, passing them off as this art project he was working on. When he got there, he put in those earplugs and pulled out a pistol from his bag, firing off a quick 8 rounds at a youth prayer group. After seeing he fatally injured one of his friends, Nicole Haley, he placed his pistol on the ground and surrendered to the school's principal, Bill Bond. December 16, 1998, Michael was given 3 concurrent life sentences for 3 counts of murder and an additional 120 years for 5 counts of attempted murder and burglary. Now, after spending 25 years in prison, Michael is seeking parole. He claimed that the voices in his head told him to do it, saying he was in a dream when he fired upon his fellow students.
I don't remember firing the gun or how many times I fired it, but the next thing I remember is people laying on the ground.
Number 4. Ethan Crumbley. September 29th, 2023. Ethan Crumbley was given life in prison without the possibility of parole for killing 4 students in his school. Ethan, now 17, was a sophomore at Oxford High School in Michigan when he pulled out a 9mm 6-hour handgun from his backpack and just shot his classmates. Upon his arrest, Ethan pled guilty to 24 charges, including 4 counts of first-degree murder. Before his trial, Ethan was entitled to a hearing to determine whether he would be eligible for parole after serving at least 25 years. This hearing's part of a growing effort to eliminate the imposition of life sentences without the possibility of parole for offenders who committed their crimes before they were 18 years old. August 2023, during the hearing, the defense tried to show that Ethan is mentally unstable. In a manifesto he recorded the night before his massacre, Ethan's heard boldly declaring,
"There's no God. I'm the demon. I'm gonna open fire on everyone in the hallway."
In the 3 days of hearings, testimony revealed that Ethan had planned the assault, which he hoped would be the biggest in Michigan history. On the eve of that shooting, he recorded a statement vowing,
"My name is Ethan Crumbley, age 15, and I'm gonna be the next school shooter."
I can't stop thinking about it. Like, it's constantly in my head.
On the day of the shooting, Ethan's parents were called in after a teacher saw some drawings depicting a shooting. "Blood everywhere," he wrote. "Help me." But the Crumbleys ignored his advice and didn't take Ethan home that day. His parents have been in jail since the shootings, held on charges of involuntary manslaughter. They're the first parents in the country to face criminal charges for a school shooting. September 29th, 2023. Judge Kwame Rowe finally announced that Ethan Crumbley's eligible for life in prison with no chance for parole after finding only a slim chance for rehabilitation. He'll be sentenced in December.
I'm lying to myself that there was something that was going to make me happy. That's bullshit.
Number 3. Dimitrios Pagitis, May 18th, 2018. A shooting happened at Santa Fe High School in Texas. 10 people, 8 students and 2 teachers, were fatally shot, and 13 others were wounded. This is the 3rd deadliest high school shooting in the U.S., after Parkland High School occurring 3 months prior and the Columbine High School massacre in '99. During this shooting, a staff member pulled a fire alarm, causing most of the school to evacuate. The suspected shooter surrendered to the police without incident and was identified as 17-year-old Dimitrios Pagitis. He's charged with capital murder of multiple people, plus aggravated assault. According to reports, Dimitrios was bullied due to being an introvert. Also, one of his victims, Shayna Fisher, had rejected his advances for months. Authorities believe this embarrassed him so much that he planned that shooting. His journals were found, showing that not only did he want to commit the shooting, but he also wanted to commit suicide. To add to all this, the boy's social media footprint revealed a violent side. Before the shooting, he posted this image of a custom t-shirt that had the words "Born to Kill" printed on it. Then he posted several pics of a black duster jacket with Nazi symbols. However, despite all this, his trial hasn't even begun yet. During many hearings, the most recent one being earlier this year, he was instructed by a judge to stay at a mental health facility due to his incompetence to stand trial. The judge mandated a reevaluation next year, but his defense team argued that his mental health worsened while in prison, leaving uncertainty about his future competence to face trial. Well, only time will tell. Number 2. Devin Erikson, May 7th, 2019. Devin Erikson and Alec McKinney entered the STEM school Highlands Ranch in Douglas County, Colorado with the intention of wreaking havoc. 1 student was killed and 8 others injured. Devin here was 18 at the time of the shooting. According to an interview with one of the STEM school students, on repeated occasions, Erikson made jokes about school shootings and even went as far as to tell those around him, "Don't come to school." On Snapchat, Erikson used the screen name Devin Kills. It seems that Erikson had a seriously disturbed mind. According to one of his friends, they smoked weed behind Erikson's house the morning before the shooting incident, and Erikson appeared to be happier and much more positive than he'd been in a while. What's more, it seems that he'd been planning this shooting for quite some time. April 29th, 2019. An edit was made to a Wikipedia entry for the school, stating that anti-suicide programs are implemented to help lower chances of suicide in school shootings. The following comment was added by an anonymous editor on the same day.
Do they work? We shall see.
which many saw as a possible warning. But no actions were taken until this tragedy occurred. May 7th, Devin Erikson, along with 16-year-old Alec McKinney, entered the school carrying handguns and other weapons hidden in guitar cases. They both went two separate ways and began shooting at students. One brave kid, Kendrick Ray Castillo, decided to jump on Erikson and was fatally shot in the chest. Erikson was then subdued and disarmed by two other students, while McKinney was tackled by an armed security guard. Erikson was given 48 criminal counts, including first-degree murder after deliberation, arson, and burglary. He pled not guilty to all charges. May 31st, 2021, Erikson's trial began. The defense attorney claimed he was an accomplice who was forced to commit the shooting. He said that he was a confused kid and not a monster. McKinney testified as a witness for the prosecution, saying that he and Erikson had planned the shooting for weeks, and that videos of McKinney berating Erikson were staged so that he could claim he was forced into the shooting. June 15th, 2021. Erikson was convicted on 46 counts, including first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and supplying a juvenile with a handgun. Erikson was given life in prison without parole, plus 1,282 years.
On this sentence and think I had a chance to do or say something to make this not happen in the future.
And number 1, T.J. Lane, February 27th, 2012. At 7:30 a.m., a person would walk into Chardon High School and fire shots on a group of students, killing 3 of them and injuring 3 more with a .22 cal handgun. The shooter would be identified as Thomas T.J. Michael Lane III. At the time of the shooting, 17-year-old Lane was taking classes as a sophomore at Lake Academy, a school for kids with special needs. Lane didn't have a happy upbringing. His dad spent a lot of time in prison, mostly for hurting women, including Lane's mom. Even Lane's mom got arrested eventually. Because of all this, Lane's parents lost custody of him, and he had to live with his grandparents. After the shooting, students at Lake Academy denied that Lane had been bullied. They described him as friendly and nice, but not very talkative. Lane, though, had a very dark side. According to reports, 2 months before the shooting, he published a disturbing piece of writing on Facebook.
I am death, and you have always been the sod.
There might also be a motive as to why he attacked the Chardon High School specifically. Rumors suggested that King, one of his victims, had started dating Lane's ex-girlfriend, sparking this deadly vendetta. Witnesses recount that Lane seemed to aim specifically at King that morning, making him the first victim. TJ was arrested shortly after the shooting, as he was chased out of the school by a brave teacher. He was given 3 counts of aggravated murder, 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder, and 1 count of felonious assault. Lane was tried as an adult in court and pled guilty to all counts. During the trial, there would be no remorse, and he began exhibiting public antics for attention. He smirked and laughed while listening to testimonies provided by the parents of those he had killed. March 19th, 2013. At his hearing, Lane took off his dress shirt to reveal this white tee underneath with the word "killer" written on the front, the same word police said was scrawled on his tee the day of the shootings. TJ was convicted and given 3 life sentences, without the chance of parole. He only avoided the death penalty because he was 17. This is what Lane said to the victims' families in the courtroom after being sentenced. September 11th, 2014. TJ escaped from prison with fellow inmate Clifford Opperud. Both inmates were caught within 24 hours. TJ was found hiding in the woods surrounding the prison, while Clifford was found a few hours later in a local neighborhood. Lane now resides in a supermax prison located in Ohio, where he'll stay for the remainder of his life.